Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Well, it's amazing what the work that has been done by so many folks before me. And today, my my session is going to be sharing a little bit about ESG and shaping resilient projects, the experiences and approaches of my company. Okay, maybe I start off with a bit of history. Let me see where this goes. Adam Smith. I don't know how many of you know Adam Smith. We are here today because of capitalism. He was a Scottish philosopher, an author, and would say he's the father of capitalism. The foundations of all the economic rules that we operate today in today's world actually originated from him, or at least you can trace back to him. Before his ideas came about, the world was looking at wealth as a zero-sum game. Okay? A zero-sum game as in, if I wanted more wealth, I would have to go to someone else and grab it from him. That was post-capitalism. He concluded, however, in his studies, that production would grow value. Production where you piece together various elements, labor, cotton, and a mill, you get fabrics, teal. And if you wanted more, you grew more, you do more. And that maybe was the start of the reduction of invasions, of wars as we knew it. Of course, today, you still look around and wars are still happening. So for 2.5 centuries, right, all the big companies grew. We got oil and gas companies, we got car companies, and so many big companies have grown over the years without grabbing from others. But what happens is that you grab the resource from somewhere else. You grab it from the earth. You grab it from your employees, and you compromise your values. And therefore, there's damage. Therefore, we result in environmental, climate change, social breakdowns, and many criminality issues. BP Deepwater Horizon, if some of you remember this, in 2010, a decade and a half ago. So a drilling rig exploded. For what reason? Some would say it's greed. Hollywood would tell you it's greed. Some would tell you it's human errors. I'm in that space, oil and gas space. So it's a combination of many things. As a result, some people died, a dozen over people, but 4.2 million barrels of oil polluted the seas. A picture here is just, it speaks 1,000 words, right? It caused so much damage. 1,400 whales and dolphins died. 800,000 birds died. 65,000 turtles died. 25,000 jobs were lost. Total damage to BP was 150 billion. 5 years of legal work to get out of it. Do you know that if you read the reports, it was found that with a $130,000 action, and an 8-hour delay, they might have prevented such a disaster. And therefore, the topic today, ESG, environmental social governance. How is it relevant? Why is it useful, and why is it good for business, for all of us here? Another example, Volkswagen. Well, in 2015, what happened was we have climate change issues. America stated some new laws. You want to bring your cars, reduce your carbon emissions. So some folks, great engineers, created something to defeat that system. So when they were found, they lost 33 billion. 33 billion. And maybe that's where it triggered the EV change that we see today. So with new information available and analytics, we have changing consumer demands. I think my slides here are the old ones, so I'll try to adapt to this. And there are more, and because investors are more responsible, they want to see responsible business actions. As a result, people have to change. Businesses have to change. So in traditional model, we fight for self-interest. We try to make the most money for ourselves as shareholders. But in today's world, when you combine it with environmental social governance, we have to combine those parameters to operate our businesses. Okay, as an example, ESG investments in 2021 was about 2.7 trillion assets under management. And interestingly, in case if you haven't studied the numbers, 400 billion was invested in 2021 into ESG projects. 660 billion in oil and gas, not traditional businesses. Now, it's important to note ESG investments grew by 33% versus oil and gas, which is only 4%. So the signs are that ESG investments, any projects that you do as a business in ESG would yield greater results. With this in mind, I just want to share a bit about my company. So I bring it up to where we are today. My company is called Cyclect Group of Companies. We are founded in 1943. We are an 80-year-old company in engineering services. So we design, we build, we maintain, we operate assets. Everything from power plants, water treatment facilities, we do built environment, and we manage facilities. So we have an opportunity to participate in many sectors. We have many verticals, including theme parks, we build roller coasters and all. And in all that we do, we discovered that ESG-related businesses, where we focus our attention on doing good while doing business, has the best yield for us. So today I was asked to share some examples. So I brought up 2 examples of businesses that we have gone in that space, in the focus of ESG, especially the environmental space. The first is in 2010, when oil price was 150, which is today's thereabouts. A lot of plant owners were thinking of how do I reduce my energy costs, which I think half the people, or more than half the people here, are thinking about how am I going to reduce my energy costs in production. And then we discovered, or we didn't discover then, but we realized there was a really good opportunity. We were harvesting waste heat. We realized a lot of factories, a lot of plants generate energy. They have big boilers, they burn a lot of fuel, they get energy for it. What happens to the remaining? It goes to the environment. It gets thrown out. It's dumped. And we realized it was good stuff. We picked it up. We developed machines, we worked with partners, and we harvested the waste heat. As a result, we built for folks like Pfizer, Merck, GSK, power plants, 10 megawatts, and it generates chilled water at the same time. These guys spend 20 million, they get a payback in 3 years, 4 years. It was really good for them. It was good for me. It was good for the environment. It was one of those rare, nice moments where everything came in place. So going fast forward to 2018-19, we were developing that business. Oil was down, and therefore those business was not as attractive as it was at that time. Of course, today it's coming back. There's a resurgence. So we looked at what's around, and I just want to recount a story. I had one of my team members, one of my staff from Bangladesh, returned from Bangladesh and gave me a nice big hamper of goodies. And he said, what's this for? He said, well, I just want to celebrate. My 4th child has just graduated from university. I've been working with you for 20 years. All my family and all the good that has been done is a result of my employment with you. And it only struck me later that this is such a big impact that we do in Singapore. When we bring in our foreign workers, when we go to their communities and we develop businesses there, we can do tremendous good. So we looked around. Bangladesh, very, very interesting place, one of the poorest nations. 20% of the people are under the poverty line. So we decided, let's see what we can do here. And in our business, we are electricals, we engineering, right? So we can do a lot of stuff. And what we saw, the renewables were coming up. Solar was coming up. We visited, we engaged the government, we engaged the people, and we developed a project. So now we are developing a 50 megawatt solar power plant in a very remote area in Bangladesh. With this project, we will generate enough energy for 500,000 Bangladeshis a whole year, clean energy. But we are generating hundreds of jobs to construct. These are the poorest folks. They're making $100 a day, $200 a day. Not a day, sorry, a month. A day would be great, right? Yeah. And we're going to be saving about 61,000 metric tons of CO2 per year, equivalent to planting 20 million trees over 20 years. So this is the kind of tremendous impact that companies can do. All of us actually are able to do in one way or another through our businesses, whether the choices that we make. I happen to be in engineering, and therefore we had the choice to do something like, whether it could be mining, it's not a bad thing anyway, I'm not saying anything about it, but mining, I could do many other stuff that could maybe do harm to the environment or harm to people. But I think for us, we had the ability to choose, and we chose this direction. So in summary, I mean, these are the, I would say, the levers. What's good about ESG? When you do it, you probably get good revenue growth. You probably get good cost reduction somewhere along the way. You have regulatory relief. Just look at BP, look at Volkswagen, the kind of regulatory concerns they have. Productivity uplift, right? The more diversity you have in your organization, you could probably see huge benefits in productivity. And finally, investments. As a ESG-focused, ESG-related business, your business is more likely to sustain difficulties, more likely to overcome challenges. So with that, I want to say you can do good and at the same time make good money. So with this, I'd like to end my speech. Thank you.